Aaron, and with me today I've got Blanca Rodriguez. Welcome to the show, Blanca.
Hi, Aaron. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's my pleasure. Can you tell people a little bit about yourself, please?
Yes, absolutely. My name is Blanca. I am the owner and CEO of Wounded Healer LLC here in Florida and the US. And underneath this umbrella, I offer massage therapy services, canine massage therapy, holistic life coaching, fitness for individuals 45 plus. I'm a speaker, best-selling book co-author, and educator as well. And I volunteer with many platforms that are very dear to me. And I come from a Puerto Rican background. My parents are Puerto Rican. My father came to the US in search for the American dream. And he, with a lot of work and dedication, he conquered the American dream, actually. And everything was good, everything was wonderful until many, many years ago when I was 8 years old. His life was taken in his place of work, and life was never the same again. Needless to say, my poor mother, she went into a very deep depression. She never recovered from it. This was the 1970s, the years that mental illnesses were taboo. Talking about mental health was totally, it was kind of prohibited. And I grew up in a very unstable environment, low self esteem, low self worth, self destructive patterns. My father's death, I didn't even know how to grieve and go through that process of grieving my father's death, because every time that the conversation will come up about my father, it was prohibited to talk about it. Don't talk about the dead. I live in the world of shh. Don't talk about mental illness. Don't talk about mental health. Don't talk about things that are really, really deeply rooted. And growing up like that, it was not, I mean, needless to say, horrific, to be honest with you. And it took me down the rabbit hole of shame, low self esteem, low self worth, self destructive patterns. And I was definitely in a world of isolation and a lot of sadness, a lot of silence. I kept my story in total silence for 47 years of my life, actually. And I said it all in the form of a chapter of a book. And not even my closest family members knew about all the secrets that I had, about all the horrible moments that happened. And yes, we grew up to be functional, and I was living in a world of so-called, and in my understanding, being a functional person. But no, I wasn't. I was in a very deep dark season that lasted a very, very long time. But with the proper help and the proper support, things really do change. And I experienced change. And once I decided to get out of my comfort zone, and comfort zones doesn't mean in any way or form that we are comfortable in life. It's just that this is the law of familiarity. We stick to what we know and what we're used to. So that's exactly what I did for a very long time. After I gave birth to my kids, things just started to happen. It was life before my kids and life when my kids were born. They're full blown adults right now. And no, I didn't give birth to them. They really gave me a second chance in making it better for myself and breaking that generational cycle of trauma, of silence, of devastation, tragedy, and everything in between, and make it better for myself. And definitely when we decide to pick up those tools that are so important for us to improve our quality of life, good things really do happen. And there is definitely where I am right now. And my biggest mission is to help others improve their quality of life. Because if I picked up those tools, and yes, the healing process is a long time, it's a journey to healing. And when these wounds are so deep, as mine were, it's for the rest of our lives, basically, the healing journey. And it's okay, because when we have these tools that really help us navigate through this, everything is better. That's for sure.
Yeah, that must have been extremely difficult for you. That this it's a lot to do with a loss anyway, but then to not be able to kind of process that and have the ability to discuss it and get through it.
Hmm.
Um, it's so difficult to deal with loss, and it's so important because everybody's going to go through loss of some form in their life, and
Absolutely.
we need to have the tools to be able to cope with that and to deal with that. So
Hmm.
how are you helping people, build them kind of tools and help heal themselves really and help them along that journey?
The first thing in my experience and what I work on with my clients is to understand that you have to put the work in order to see the results, because the tools are always there. They're always there available to us. All we need to do is pick them up. And it's not only about picking the tools up, it's about actually using them. And when the triggers happen, use those tools that you have learned to, that you have available to you, because knowledge is power. And yes, we all hear that, but the application of the knowledge is the real power, because we can know a lot about many things in life, but if we have actually don't apply what we know, then it's good for nothing. Then it will go in deaf ears. And what my biggest recommendation, and what I push on my clients and I push on myself, because I want to recommend anything that I haven't used on myself actually, and that is actually effective. And don't take me wrong, we are not one size fits all. Everybody is different. Everybody has a different approach to life, different experiences in life. This is a very individual thing, but there are tools that can really work for a lot of people. It's about internalizing that, hey, this is going on with me. And how long am I going to keep on going on that vicious circle? Getting on that vicious circle. When is going to be the time to just get out of the vicious circle? Break generational patterns. Break the pattern of abuse. I grew up in a pattern of abuse, and it wasn't really physical. And yeah, well, back in those days, the guava stick was my mother's favorite thing, and the belt. So yeah, you can imagine here and there. And when my mother will go in those bouts of her uncontrollable anger, oh yeah, we took a beating, many times actually. But it's about, okay, am I going to continue this pattern for the next generation to come, or what am I going to do about it? Am I going to make it better for myself, for my kids, and the next generation, so they understand it's like that was the past? And yes, the wounds are not our fault, but the healing is our responsibility. And the most important investment that we do in this life is the one on ourselves. Pick up those tools, use them. Don't just look at them and say, "Oh, they're there and maybe I'll use them." No, this is the most important job that we can do in our lives, Aaron, is the one for ourselves. That is a fact.
Absolutely. And I think we're all on a journey, and the sooner that we accept that, we got to work on ourselves, and that's, it's key, it's so important. A lot of us put it off for a long time. I put it off for 38 years, but finally I'm on that journey myself, and I'm trying to, improve myself and get myself into a place where I can bring myself peace and, not so much happiness, because you still have your ups and downs, but
Yes.
from a place of calm and peace, and that's what I'm trying to get to. That's what I'm trying to help others get to as well.
Mhm.
So, from the people that you work with, Blanca, are there like common threads you see among those who seek your help?
The commonality that I find in, I could say, 98% of all my clients is untreated childhood trauma. And this is a place where I definitely know where they're coming from, because I come from untreated childhood trauma. I lost my father at when I was 8 years old. And I was doing research not long ago, and it is proven that two-thirds of all kids from all over the world will suffer a traumatic experience, whether it is the tragic loss of someone, being bullied by family members or at school, or sexual assault. I went through all three of these by the time I reached 9 years old. And it was confusing. It was devastating. I didn't understand what grief meant. All I knew it was this. I was based on this. Dad, why did you leave and leave me with her? That was my question as a little 8-year old. And that took me to a trail of devastation. That is for sure. And when there's no support coming from the most important figure in my life at that time, which was my mother, because my father was my most important person. But then when I tried to reach to my mother for solace, for support, it was just, she was totally absent. And I understand now. I mean, as an adult, as a full blown adult, I understand where she came from, because she was terrified of admitting that she had chronic mental illness. Because in those days, this was back in the 70s, it was one pill, fix everything. It was, you're either crazy or you're not. And let me see, there was schizophrenia and depression. There's right now to date, there's always over 400 different kinds of mental illnesses that have a name, and that is incredible research from 50 years ago to this day. Now there's more openness. You can talk about these conversations, which are extremely important, with everybody. My daughter, she has depression and she has bipolar disorder. We have open conversations about it at all times. And that for me is a blessing right there. That to me is a miracle, because I grew up around all of my entire natural life. I was around people with chronic untreated mental illnesses, and it was really scary and devastating. And upon all of that loss, definitely we learn. And when we learn, the lesson is never about smelling the daisies and looking at the flowers. I mean, when we finally learn the lessons, it's about falling down, hitting hard on the floor, and we either learn the lesson and move on, or the lesson will keep on coming and coming and coming, repeating and repeating and repeating, until we say, okay, how much longer am I going to be repeating this pattern until it's time to break the cycle? Very, very important.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, it often takes something to happen to kind of kick us while we're down, really, to get us to break that cycle, which is unfortunate. However, there is quite an interesting quote that says, "The wound is the place where the light enters you," which essentially means, when once you feel that, that's when you start to actually realize and take these things on board. And
Right.
we have come a long way with mental health, in Western society at least, and I still think there's a long way to go.
Oh yeah,
There's more
absolutely.
there's more acceptance now, and there's more people willing to communicate it and be vulnerable, and
Hmm.
share how they feel. But I still don't think that we've got the support right in or the support in place to kind of help the people that
Oh
are
yeah.
really struggling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I used to work for two rehab centers for drug addiction and alcohol abuse here in the U.S. And the approach to rehabilitation, they got a long way to go. They got a long way to go, because in my experience, I have worked with thousands of people over the last few years. It doesn't discriminate with age or social stature. It really doesn't. I would help the one that used to be a homeless person, all the way to the one that will be a doctor, an anesthesiologist, a lawyer. I mean, it is from it everything, everything. And the rooting of most of people's addiction is childhood trauma and mental illnesses. There is no doubt about that. I have worked with a lot of people from the military, and unfortunately, here in the US, when military personnel, they're tossed. They are like, okay, you're done and we're ready to throw you away next. And a lot of military personnel, they have a massive amount of PTSD and a lot of traumatic experiences that they go through while they are in the military. And then when they seek help from the military to attend to their mental health issues, what the military does is they turn their backs on them, and this has been happening for decades upon decades, and this is nothing new. But most of, I mean, I could say 90% of the military personnel that I have worked on in these rehab centers is all about traumatic experiences. It's all about mental health. It's all about the illnesses that they have to hide because you're supposed to be a man, and you're supposed to be like, you have this front, you're not supposed to cry, this idiotic phrase, oh, real men don't cry. And I mean, here is really, really bad. It's like, oh no, crying is for sissies. Sissies, oh my god, what a disgusting phrase. Crying is for sissies, so stop crying like a little girl. Crying is for humans. Crying was created by God. We come with this package that everybody has glands that are supposed to produce tears for a reason. So, yeah, let's be more cognizant of that and not define our emotions based on sexual orientation, or if you're a man or woman or whatever the case may be, please.
Yeah, I think from my experience, the older generation is still very much that way, and it's but the younger generation, because I've worked with people from all walks of life and all ages. I do feel like the younger generation are a bit more emotional now and a bit more emotionally aware
Yeah,
and a bit more willing to be vulnerable and willing to kind of be that way. Whereas I
absolutely.
think the older generation are still hold on to their original values a lot,
Which
where they
is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous pattern that I don't even know where that came from. Oh my god, it's like snap out of it, people, please.
I don't know. I don't know where it's come from, but I don't know if it's kind of viewed as kind of stoicism or some sort of way. I don't know, but
Right?
it's definitely kind of been bred in to to generations. But
Hmm. Definitely.
I don't know. But I think that will change. I think it's going to take time, though. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's taking time, and when it comes to the progress on mental health, yes, it's happening, but there's still a long way to go. But in my experience and where it comes from, definitely progress has been done, because I am telling you, I grew up around so many chronic mental illnesses, and this was the treatment for the few family members, uncles and aunties that I had. This was the treatment. They will take, it was like horse tranquilizer, because they will become zombies, and that is not the answer for no treatment. You become zombies. You throw the feelings under the rug until the effect of the pill passes, and go straight back to square one. And what psychiatrists used to do back in the day is like, okay, I'll talk to you a little bit, and here's your horse tranquilizer. See you in a month. And that really doesn't work that way. And coming back to the present, on these rehab centers that I would work for, it was I mean, the approach was drink a pill too. A pill is a helper, but it's not the solution to a problem. There's got to be a different approach to these situations, because with the proper approach, I truly believe that progress can be done, and more openness will happen, and better results will happen, definitely.
Yeah, I think we can't hide from the issues, and I think taking a pill or masking it is the same as and I appreciate that's given by a doctor, but it's the same really as somebody becoming a drug addict or using alcohol, because all
Right.
you're doing is you're trying to mask that pain, that
Right.
internal turmoil. It's not fixing the problem at all. And
Mhm.
healing doesn't mean that the damage never existed. It just means the damage no longer controls our lives. But
Right.
how are we gonna learn to control our lives if we numbing ourselves to what's actually the
Yeah.
issue?
Yeah, definitely. And that is falling into, again, into this vicious circle, this crazy aid, never ending of, where am I going now? I have the pill, I feel a little better, and then go straight back to square one. And it's repetitive and repetitive and redundant. The redundancy of these treatments, and it works for a minimum of people. And I'm telling you, in the past 2.5 years that I've been working for these facilities, I have taken care of over 4,000 people. And it's a lot of people. And they say themselves, they will say, oh my God, I feel so much better because I'm a massage therapist there, and there's a chiropractor there, and there's yoga classes there. But this is the to the minimum, and people feel the effectivity in it. They see that there's another option to help them feel better rather than have a pill, all these side effects, which there are many, and we know that, and keep on numbing the pain, keep on masking the pain, and do absolutely nothing about it. There's got to be some treatment, alternative health, to see ourselves as a whole unit, meaning body, mind, and spirit working as a team, not as separate entities. And there is a lot to be done, definitely. And here, I mean, I'm telling you this. It's a very lucrative industry. Okay. Yes, these rehab centers, they charge, I don't know, $10,000 a week for a patient to be there. And insurances cover and some others don't, so it's out of pocket. And it's a very lucrative, I mean, it's billions of dollars of income that is there. And what I see is like, well, maybe I'm saying way too much, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's People make a lot of money on behalf of other people suffering, and that is the truth. It is cruel. It is cruel, and it's relentless. And supposedly, these people that so very much want to help these patients, yeah, they want to help them make them more money, definitely, because when there's no effectivity for 80% of the population on a treatment center, one treatment center, something's got to change. Something needs to change for to have more success rates. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. It's very, very sad, definitely. But the root cause of addiction, the root cause of mental illnesses, it has to stop being throw it under the rug. Let me give you a pill. It's like, no, you got to really, really confront that trauma. Running away from it is not going to help you get anywhere. And yes, it's our obligation to get out of our comfort zones, confront ourselves so we can move on. And it's not about, oh, let's throw it again under the rug and forget about it, because these experiences are unforgettable. But how to go navigate around those experiences, it makes a whole difference in our lives once we pick up the tools and actually use them.
Absolutely. And in that, um, what you just said there, you're saying about body, mind, and spirit. How do you kind of incorporate that with your clients, Blanca?
Yes, absolutely. I have quite a few clients that they are very religious. So I tell them, what like a great teacher of mine says, prayer is talking to God, and meditation is listening to God. So these beautiful tools can be incorporated. Meditation is, and then here we go again. Here we go with the word ignorance. A lot of people think that meditation is a subculture, is a sect, is taboo, is bad. And no, meditation is a beautiful practice that calms our mind and spirits, and it takes us to and physically we feel the difference. I've been in meditation for over 5 years, and it has transformed my life. I'm in the middle of my menopausal stages, and one of the first things that happens with menopause, unfortunately, is that our sleeping patterns, they go straight out the window. Meditation has taken me to a very peaceful place. And how to incorporate these tools are so phenomenal to have better quality of life. It doesn't matter what age we are. I wasn't raised into meditation and prayer. And yes, I was raised a Catholic, but I never, I mean, that went in my experience, church things really went in deaf ears, because it didn't really, I never connected with it. And I know a lot of people can relate to this as, oh, well, this is part of my upbringing. And well, it was there, but I never connected with it Really. But with when I come to my clients that they may be very religious people, as I remember, prayer is great, but don't base yourself on reading it from a book because it has to be meaningful. You have to feel it from the deepest of your soul in order for it to be effective. I recommend them prayer, meditation, journaling. How important, how vital, what a beautiful tool journaling is. It's for you, it's not to be shared with anybody. And you can say whatever you want to say in the form of writing, and journaling is a very, very powerful tool that helps you with your healing and your growth. And you can actually go back to your journal. It's like, wow, wait a minute. Where was I a year ago? Let me go through my journal and see. It's like, wow, progress, not perfection. And remember, guys, life is about progress, not perfection. Don't be so hard on yourselves because it's unfortunate that in the male world you guys have a lot of weight on your shoulders and the responsibility. You're not supposed, the first thing that happens is like, don't show too much emotion because otherwise you're weak. And then when, for example, when my father died, my brother was 9 years old, and this is what the family said: you're the man of the house now. What kind of pressure is thrown to a 9 year old boy that just lost his father? You're the man of the house now. You're the man of the house now. Oh, I heard that a million times, and my poor brother must have been it's like, oh my God, how am I going to deal with this? Because the man of the house was my father, and he had three different businesses. So it was a lot of pressure. And when it comes to man, definitely a lot is thrown on your shoulders, and please be vulnerable. When you feel weakness, don't hide it so much, because hiding, when we hide things and we are supposed to be with this front, the walls can close in on you and tragedy can happen. So please raise awareness, be aware of your feelings, and when it's time to quiet the noise, please do so. When it's time to feel whatever you need to feel, please do so, because having emotions is a human thing. It's not only for the ladies, I promise you that. And you will have a much more balanced life. And balance can be a little bit of a big responsibility too, but when you have a little more harmony when it comes to emotions and not hiding the emotions so much because you're supposed to be the man and the stronger one. And when these things happen that you're vulnerable, don't shut yourself down. Just feel what you need to feel. Please, it is the most healthy thing that you can do for yourself. And remember, at the end of the day, you are the one that matters, not what everybody else says.
Yeah, I think that's an important point because a lot of people worry too much about what other people think, um, and they behave accordingly. They behave to try and please other people and
Mhm.
try to portray an image that they think they have to portray, rather than kind of accepting who they are and being themselves, and you know being vulnerable with people. And it, if anything, it's difficult to be vulnerable with people, right? So if anything, that makes you stronger, not weaker, by doing that. But
Absolutely. I cannot agree more. To me, vulnerability is power because it shows who we truly are. And with our strength and our weaknesses, this is part of the human experience. There's nothing wrong with showing vulnerable. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I cannot do this. I don't have the capability of doing certain things. And it's okay. You're not supposed to know it all. You're not supposed to be the big fort of whatever the situation may be. And there's situations that yes, we can handle it. It's like, okay, I got this, I can handle it. But when there's something that is just not up your alley, be accepting of it and be open about it. There's nothing wrong with that, definitely.
absolutely. I, like I say, I think there is becoming a shift with the younger generations coming through, and it's more acceptable, seen as more acceptable to be vulnerable, and people are doing it
Absolutely.
more and being more authentic. And I hope that continues. But um, I definitely, for a big part of my life, I was wearing that mask and trying to pretend to be,
Mhm.
something else. Whereas, it's taken me a long time to get to this point where I'm okay with being vulnerable, and I'm actually trying to do it all the time, and to put myself out there. And I just hope people get to that point sooner, because it's brought me a lot more peace in my life, a lot more calm,
Oh,
and I'm just
absolutely. I'm
and I'm
so
just a
happy
lot
for you.
happier.
I'm so happy for you, Aaron, because if you are brought up to have this front of pretending that everything is perfect when it's not, definitely that shows how powerful you are, and that shows how much we move on and we progress. And remember, guys, life is about progress, not perfection. We're not supposed to be in we're so fabulous every single day, because that's not necessarily the truth. When we are great, it's fabulous, but when we are not okay, it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, and I think that there's power in kind of accepting like failures, or or difficult times and stuff like that. Because we all have bad days, we all have clumsy days, we all have emotional days, we all have days where we feel low, days where we
Mhm.
feel good, and it's all part of the human experience, right? So we just need to embrace it all, and share it all, because everybody, whether they show it or not, is going through similar sort of a similar sort of journey, where there's ups and downs, and difficulties in their lives. So I don't know
Absolutely.
why we feel like we have to hide it or pretend to be perfect, when
Mhm.
we all know for a fact that nobody is.
Yep, that's right. That's definitely right. And putting a front, we can only put a front in of our emotions only for so long, and or put a wall, and this wall at some point will just start crumbling down. And the more we build up on pretending or being a people pleaser, I was a yes person for the longest time. When I wanted to say no, I will say yes. And you know why I said yes? Because I was highly insecure. I had low self-esteem and low self-worth, and was highly insecure. So to me, saying yes was a form of pleasing everybody. I wanted to please everybody, because otherwise I won't be worth anybody's time. And that's what I thought for a very long time. Why should I speak up when I'm not worth anybody's time? Why should I seek help when I am not worth anybody's time? Because that's what I really thought about myself. And that is a sad pattern, and it's a sad life. I went through that sad life for a very, very long time, 47 years of silence that I endured, because I really thought that I was not worth anybody's time or effort. But once I went to counseling, group counseling, reading books, YouTube is excellent. I did Unleash the Power Within with the great Anthony Robbins. I mean, once I picked up the tools and really invested in my journey to improving my quality of life, very beautiful things have happened. I should have been one of those statistics that, oh, this woman, she died and two kids were left behind. This, I should have been a woman of, oh, her partner killed her and two kids were left behind, because I was in a household plagued with domestic abuse. But I learned that from a very young age, and it was untreated childhood trauma that took me into that pattern that lasted for decades upon decades of my life. But once I said to myself, and I was introduced to holistic life living in the form of massage therapy, I said, okay, there's an open door to better things to come, for learning the lesson. Because remember, guys, the lesson will keep on coming back until we learn it and move on from that moment. And the failures is a lesson. Don't see failure as you're less than zero and you will never recover from that failure, because failures are lessons. When in order to grow, people, we must go through failures. We must go through falling down on our asses and then pick up the pieces and move on. But we got to learn the lesson along the way, please.
Absolutely. Our wounds are often the openings into the best and most beautiful part of us. So we need to embrace them and accept that we have these wounds
Yeah.
so that we can heal and grow, right? We can't
Mhm.
just kind of hide them away because that's not going to get us anywhere really. And it's just going to, the way I kind of describe it is that there's always a price to pay in life. So you always pay a price. So you can shove all these feelings down and hide from them, and then you're going to pay the price probably throughout your life, and especially towards the end when you filled with the regret for not living the way you wanted to live. Or we can pay the price up front by facing it, dealing with it, bringing ourselves into a place where we have some peace and some control over our lives, and then we can enjoy the rest of our lives. So it's it's when you want to pay for it, really. That's kind of the decision you have to make.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let's remember the most important investment that we do is the one on ourselves. And once we really internalize what happened, what we can do, and how we can make our lives better with those failures that we went through, definitely the real growth is right there, and beautiful things will follow. I promise you that. I should have been the statistic that I just mentioned to you. I was meant to be that person that my life was cut short because of my own actions and in my own environments. But change was meant to happen. And in my experience, it was through the form of becoming a mother and being introduced to holistic lifestyle by becoming a massage therapist. And I am grateful every single day of my life for that, because I am here, right now, sharing with you and sharing with the listeners an important message that maybe will reach to one person, 3 million maybe. And this is what it is all about. We are in a mission of helping others, because you don't have to do like I did, be in a world of silence. You can reach out, there is support. Just reach out and people will come to your aid, and it'll be okay. I promise you that.
Yeah, that's that first step, right? That willingness to be vulnerable and willingness to reach out for support and say, I'm struggling a bit here.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
as part of your mission, what does it look like, kind of day to day, and how do you measure success in that mission?
To me, success in my mission is helping one person or many people in any way or form to improve, to see them say and hear them say, "Wow, I feel so much better because of the help that you gave me." Oh, wow. Like, I have a client that just last week he had a situation and he says, "Thank you. Thank you for the tools that you have handed over, because I actually used them and I could deal with this situation in a better way than he used to." And having accountability partnering is a beautiful thing. I don't go without my mentors, without my accountability partner. I don't go without a life coach. I have a life coach for the last 3 years, and that was a big aspect that gave me the tools to say to myself, I'm going to become a life coach because of how powerful the effects have been on my journey. Definitely. And it has been a real good one. And I look back on when I was in these days that I wanted to do everything on my own. I wanted to solve everything on my own because of where I come from. And the moment that I started reaching out for help, is like, I won't go without help ever again. I have mentors, I have teachers, I have accountability partners, and I won't go without any of them, because it's of great help. And it's like, wow, I have the relief and I can breathe easier because I am not doing this alone anymore. And when we try to do everything alone, it's too much pressure on our shoulders and the walls start closing in. And please, there's always someone that will be non judgmental. Choose the people that you go to as well. Because if you're going to go to someone that only will give you judgment, that only will point fingers at you, that only will come back asking you, oh, but why didn't you do this way? Why didn't you do it the way I did it? Because that is ego that is in the way. And no, it's not about that. Have someone in your life, or many someones, that are there for to listen and say, I hear you. For a start, I hear you. How important that is. Because many times we may be going through very dark seasons in our lives, and all you need, and all that is really welcome in your life, is someone to just be there and listen to what you say, and say, I hear you, I'm here for you no matter what. That is power right there.
Absolutely. We want to find somebody who kind of listens to understand, right? Because a lot of people will listen just to reply, just to say what they need to say, but they're not
Exactly.
trying to they're not actually trying to understand where you're coming from. They're not actually trying to understand how you feel. So they're not asking the questions. They're just waiting so they can say and push their agenda onto you. And
Right.
yeah, you gotta find the right people, the
Yeah.
people that make you feel heard, and the people that will give you, that support and that bring you that peace that you need, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. And somebody that just listens to you, that's the person to go to, not the person that wants to hear what you say and interrupts you all of a sudden because they have something to say and an opinion to emit. When you don't really want an opinion for nobody. I mean, this is when life coaches are so good, because they are here to help you with whatever is going on with you. We are not here to judge you. When somebody is in a judgmental state, do yourself a favor, stay away from that person, because it's not going to help you in any way or form.
Absolutely. um so Blanca, you deal with a lot of people, who are struggling with their own traumas and their own life. um that's kind of an emotionally heavy environment for you to be working in all the time. How do you kind of continue to give back and give them what they need without kind of burning out yourself?
Well, definitely it's imperative to know our limits. Okay, we are not here to fix people's life. You can only fix your own life. We're here to be accountability partners and to hand the proper tools for your healing and your journey to wellness. But I am very, very highly aware that when a client or a patient don't comply with themselves, as an accountability partner, all I can do is ask, what are you going to do about this situation? How can I help you with this situation? But at the end of the day, it's up to them to really make these tools work for them. I come from a place that I grab the tools, I grab a life coach. I had counseling from many different people over the years because of my very deep childhood trauma. I come from sexual assault at a very young age. I come from tragic death, and I come from mental illness. Oh, those three. What a combination that it was, really devastating in my life. But when it comes to the tools that were handed to me, I have to use the tools. Nobody will do it for you. You got to be fully participant in your own healing journey, because if you are expecting, oh, come fix me, nobody will fix you. You can only do that yourself. I have a client that the first approach that he gave me, oh, I'm here for you to fix me. And I said to him directly, I cannot fix you, you have to fix you. Okay, I can help you with your journey, but you have to fix you. And when it comes to the rehab centers, at the beginning I will be affected by things that I saw, but once I understood that I can only do so much with the time that is handed to me, and the rest is up to them, and I internalized that, it was a tremendous change for me for the better. Definitely, because as helpers, I am a healer, we are helpers here, and it gets to us, it can get really personal because it's like, man, I really want to help this person. I want to see this person shine. I know the potential that they have to shine and be better and do better. But when this person doesn't do their job, there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing. And this is why I pray and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for healing and I pray for healing. Very, very important. I do every single day of my life. I pray for healing and I'm grateful for healing. I pray for people's healing. I pray for my own healing journey and I'm grateful for healing because when we heal, definitely we see life on a whole different lens. That is for sure. And I busted my ass to make my life better. So this means only one thing. My clients need to do the same in order for them to see the changes and enjoy them actually.
Does it get frustrating sometimes when
Oh
when you're trying to help these people and they're not quite, you can see the potential, but they're not quite stepping up to the
yeah.
plate?
Yeah. And sometimes I mentally go, it's like, oh my God, can I shake you? But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it must be difficult. But I suppose everybody kind of takes their own time and has their own. Everybody's slightly different, right? So it takes
Yeah,
them a little bit
and
longer.
it
Or
takes time. It takes time. It is proven that for us to adapt to a new habits, we're creatures of habit, and to adapt to a new habits, it takes 21 to 67 days to adapt to a new habit or let go of one. And in many occasions, I mean, it depends on how deeply instilled this habit is. It will take years to adapt to a new habit, but it's about consistency and working every day little by little to for these improvements to really happen. So don't be in a hurry. This is not like a magic wand and everything is better. No, no, no. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes tears, it takes a lot for these changes to happen. But once the change is there, oh my God, life is so much better. Yep.
yeah, well, we're human again, so we'll have setbacks right along the way. We'll have slip ups and fall. We'll fall off the horse at a support, and we just get back on and keep going in the right direction, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the best part is that okay, I am falling. I feel wobbly. I feel like, oh my God, life is really shaking me up to the core. But then it's like, okay, let me remind myself of where I have been. Let me remind myself of what I have, the tools that I have used and how beneficial they have been for me. So, yes, let me remind myself of how beneficial these tools are because they're really effective. And like recently we had here in Florida two major hurricanes that came in, a lot of devastation, a lot of suffering, a lot of loss. And everybody was on edge. Everybody was on edge. And I was feeling under the weather myself. So, what I did was this I quiet the noise. I silenced everything. I got off social media. I got off of everything because that's a lot of pressure and a lot of energy to be invested. And I just came back from a trip yesterday that I didn't know how much I needed it until I got in that plane and I disconnected from everybody. And I came back yesterday. I was like, oh my God, I'm so relieved. I still feel so much better now. And here we are today. So please, raise awareness, be aware of how you're feeling and use those tools for your own good. And these tools are here for the rest of your life. And just like you say, Aaron, there's times when life is going to be lifing a lot. And what are you going to do about it? Are you going to fall off the wagon and stay there? Or are you going to be like, okay, hold on for a second. This has been a difficult moment. Let me embrace it, but it's time to get up and going, please, because we know exactly what to do.
Absolutely. I think it's important what you said there as well about disconnected as well, because we connected 24/7, aren't we, to the internet, which unfortunately it can be full of kind of bad news.
Mhm.
Um, and if you're on social media a lot, and the algorithms are very very clever, so if you've been in a dark place and you kind of been watching dark content and you know reinforcing your kind of depression or your issues, then that will keep showing you those things,
Oh
and
my
you need
God,
to try and
yes.
get away. You need to try and get away from that because that's going to keep dragging you back in, and you need to try and you know break clean from that to try and
That's right.
continue on your journey. So we need to be aware of things like that as well, because it's society's changed a lot over the years, and the social media is a big part of it. We need to learn how to navigate that as well, and because that does form a part of our
Mhm.
healing as well.
Oh yeah, and it can tear you apart. So be very mindful and be very careful. My husband, he doesn't have his own social media, so he was using my social media, and he was watching, I don't know, fights and stuff like that. What we call here the Karens, people getting all crazy in stores and things of that matter. And I would be just like, why is this in my social media? I don't look at these things. And I ask him, he's like, well, I saw this and that. It's like, well, my social media is like overwhelmed with this. It's like, no, don't do this anymore. I am not interested in it. And yeah, the algorithm, oh yeah, let me see. You look at dogs. I love dogs. I'm an animal lover. And I love to watch funny animals doing silly things. Oh my goodness, it's an ocean, but it's a good ocean because it makes me laugh, it makes me happy, and it's goodbye. But at the same time, you got to be very careful because you get lost. You get lost in it. The hours will pass by and pass by and pass by. And it's like, oh, what have I done with my life today? And that's when the guilt is like, oh, I have this pile of things to do. And what the hell did I do? Nothing. Just being on social media, glued to social media, looking at things that are really not conducive to your productivity. So watch out. I mean, be very careful about that because I've been there, done that, and no, it can bring frustration and no, use social media for the better good and don't get lost in it because it's very easy to happen.
Absolutely, it can, and it can have such an effect on you. This is the reason I no longer watch the news. I stopped watching the news in 2016, and it's the best
Good
thing I
for
ever did.
you. Oh, I love it.
Because
Good for you. Yep, yep.
best thing I ever did. That's all I used to do is because it's always just bad stuff, right, on the news. It's just
Always.
always
Mhm.
miserable, like everything, the world's going to end, awful stuff. It just constantly affected my mood and made me feel awful. So I binned it, and since I binned it, I've been a lot happier.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I stopped watching the news for years already, and the only time I watch the news is for the weather. And it's like, I think I'm gonna go for a weather app rather than go to the news because it's always the glorification of negativity. The glorification. I mean, I guess they make a lot of money out of seeing suffering and devastation all the time. But yes, I let go of that, and thank goodness I live with a husband that he can care less about the news too. So it's very helpful. It's very helpful. And if you live in a household, is I please be in tune and let your partner know that it's like, okay, this in TV really affects me. So let's just limit this to the minimum, please, because open communication is very important. A lot of relationships can come to an end because of lack of communication on simple things, and this is not simple at all because it affects your mental health about watching the news from first thing in the morning to the last thing in the evening. I have friends that this woman tells me, oh no, my husband, the first thing that he does first thing in the morning is grab a cup of coffee and turn on the news. It's like, oh my goodness, what a way to start the day. Wow, that is bad. It is bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a fan of that big dark cloud over you for the rest of the day.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. The big dark cloud from the moment you open your eyes to the moment you go to sleep. Are you kidding me? I open my eyes and I do some meditation. I practice gratitude for the simplest things I have in this life and go from there, do some good physical activity. How important is physical activity for great quality of life? Definitely. Super important. And as we age, the more physical activity we have, the better off we will be. It's excellent for good mental health.
Absolutely. I mean, I've always trained and exercised or done sport, um, and when I started when I was younger, it was all for the physical side of it. But now it's my mental health that it benefits the most from it. And if I don't go, I notice a big change in my mood and how I am. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I Every time I don't do my physical activity, I feel it. It's like, oh, I'm missing something today. And definitely is good physical activity. When we had these two devastated hurricanes that came in, physical activity was the savior for my mental health at that moment because I was feeling as wobbly as the weather. And I said to myself, now I gotta go outside, I gotta walk the dog, I gotta go to the gym, do something that definitely it brought me to a calmer space and a calmer place. That's for sure.
Yeah, it must be terrifying with like hurricanes and stuff like that. It's stuff that we have absolutely no control over.
That's right. That's right. And the strangest thing happened with this last one that we had, that it came with many tornadoes, and tornadoes, you just don't know where they're going to go until they're on top of you, very deadly. So it was a very, very hard situation, very unstable, and nobody was sure of what anything was happening. It's like, okay, God, we're at your mercy, at the mercy of Mother Nature, and Mother Nature has not been happy lately. So watch out, people.
No, we are fortunate over in the UK. We don't get weather that extreme, but
I'm glad.
yeah, it must be terrifying. I honestly don't know what I would do in that kind of situation or how we'd kind of cope with it. Are you like prepared for that kind of event?
We
Is it?
are as prepared as we can be, but it's always to a limit here. Because when it comes to tornadoes, you don't know where that big monster is going to come to, and there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to go, especially here in the state of Florida, because here in the US, there's what they call Tornado Alley, and it covers a whole bunch of states, but people are prepared. They have basements. So when a tornado comes, everybody goes to the basement and just wait it off. But here there's no such thing as a basement. So we just have to like pray and wait. Definitely. Same thing with the hurricane. But the good thing about the hurricanes is that if you need to leave, you have plenty of time to leave and just wait it off, as of course, definitely. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride, definitely, and I'm so glad I went away. I quieted the noise because it was really taking me down. It's like, nah, I need to really quiet down and regroup, reset, pray a lot, go outside, enjoy the beautiful fall weather up north. And that's exactly what we did. And I came back, it's like, yes, thank you so much. Very grateful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I take it you're out with the tail end of it all now and it's
Yes.
settled a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Did you manage to escape without any kind of property damage and stuff like that?
Oh, yes. I mean, everything went well here. I'm very grateful that we were spared, but we were spared because there was tornado. The hurricane was here, and then tornadoes were passing us by. The phone was blasting with tornado warnings, and it was a very scary situation. No doubt about that. But I'm grateful we're still here. I mean, everything is in good standing. So yeah, very grateful.
Yeah, fortunate. I'm very pleased for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so going back to the kind of trauma and emotional wounds that people suffer. So for those that might be struggling with stuff with childhood trauma, maybe or maybe even adulthood trauma and emotional wounds now, what would be your message to help them kind of start on their healing journey?
Definitely try to get out of your comfort zone and realize where your suffering is coming from, because we have the tendency of consciously forgetting where our suffering comes from, where our trauma comes from. We avoid pain to gain pleasure. And this is part of the human experience. And it's very important to get out of our comfort zones, okay? And I'm not going to say, oh, unfortunately, you have to get out of your comfort zone. No, this is a blessing to get out of your comfort zone and gain that perspective of saying, okay, in order for me to progress in life, it's important that I face myself and look for the root cause of whatever it is that is going on in your life at a physical and emotional level. Because when we have emotions that are deeply seated, and have not been dealt with, it'll translate to the physical form in the form of high blood pressure, migraines, tightness of the neck, stomach issues. Stomach issues are a big one when it comes to being under permanent stress, because here is like in everybody's mouth is the word stress and tired. Everybody's stressed and everybody's tired. Everybody. And this is the thing. Those two come together hand in hand. Stress causes exhaustion. Okay. So how to deal with your stress? Look into your insights, and you know what is the best recipe to start letting go and the stress levels going down? Breathe. Breathe. Breathe slowly. Breathe deeply. Pray. Look into your insights of what is the root cause of your high blood pressure. What is the root cause of your migraines? Why is your gut so violent lately? And most likely, and this is when the body mind spirit unit comes into play, it has everything to do with your emotions and where you come from. Okay, so how to deal with the trauma is by confronting it. We don't heal trauma by running away from it. We heal trauma by confronting it. Please be very aware of that. And this is the most important job that you can do, is the one on your own healing journey, because nobody will heal you but you. Okay. So please be aware of that. And if it has worked for me, if it has worked for you, Aaron, it can work for everybody. It's just putting the work in and seeing the results, and be patient. Be patient. Don't expect things to, like a magic wand, to just change in a day or two, because that is not real. Okay. So get help. Don't do this alone. Don't do what I did. Don't do this alone, and you'll see the beautiful effects. You'll see beautiful results, and the rest will follow. I promise you that.
Absolutely, it's crucial. And once we get to that position where we've kind of got ourselves on that journey and we've started to see progress,
Mhm.
maintaining it along that journey is a lot easier than the initial work, right?
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. When you go into that level, it's like, okay, I'm going into maintenance now. That is a beautiful thing. And along the way, we keep on learning new things. So it's a beautiful journey. Stay in student mode. Be a student forever. That is the most beautiful gift that we can have, is be in student mode no matter what age we are. And it's not only beneficial for our intellect, it's beneficial for brain health. The more we learn something new as we age, the more brain health we'll have. So it's a beautiful thing. I highly recommend it. I will never stop learning no matter what age we are. And all of these people, I'm the older generation as it is. I will hear a lot of older people say, "No, I know everything that there is to know in life." No, 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 that's not true. There's always something new to learn, and please do so. Learn from the younger generations. It's a beautiful thing. I learn a lot from my own kids. It's a beautiful thing. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's about being open-minded in it, and being willing to learn rather than going, "Oh, we never did it that way. I hate that. Oh, we never did that. We never did this." Yeah, because it's called evolution. Things are changing and they're
Exactly. It's gonna
adapting.
change. Yeah. It's gonna change, bro. Wake up.
Yeah, it is important that we look at the younger generations, and we can learn from them. It's not just them learn from us, and it's a very much a two-way process, right?
Right, right, definitely. It's great to learn from the older generation certain things in life, and of course, there's a lot of experiences, a lot of things that they will deal with in a certain way, and it's like it's good. That's good. But I love learning from the new generations. Let me tell you something. I have learned a great deal of things from people that are more than, I mean, younger than me, for 20, 30 years younger than me. It's like I don't care. There's always something to learn. It's only even something to learn from a little kid. Are you kidding me? So it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Please.
Uh, absolutely. Um, Before we go, Blanca, I want to go through a couple of stats with you, right? So, um, in 2019, there was a study published. So, people over 55 who engaged in physical activity reduced their risk of cardiovascular disease by 35%, which is probably not a surprise, but also reduced their risk of depression by 20%.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I cannot agree more on that one. I'm 59 years old and I'm still teaching group fitness instruction. Okay. At age 59, I'm supposed to be the generation of ladies that is like, nah, you're going downhill. It's like, nah, bro, I'm not going downhill. This is good. I am going into a whole different season of my life, and physical activity is imperative in my life to feel better, do better. Women that are in menopausal stages, men that are going in what they call middle age crisis. That is the male version of menopause. Okay, people? Okay, now that we got that out of the way, please be aware that physical activity really is a healer. Movement is the real medicine here. And the more movement that you have in your life, the better you will be. And it's not only excellent for balance, it's excellent for cognitive function, it's excellent for coordination, balance, flexibility, and how important for people after in their 50s, like myself, I'm in my late 50s, how important weight training is, because the more muscle mass we keep, the better our skeletal system will work. And if we don't have muscle mass, the skeleton will just go blah, 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 and it will fall apart. So as we age, it's vital to keep coordination, flexibility, and balance. Do some weight training. The muscle mass that you have, please keep it as, I mean, it's like eating and sleeping. Just work on it every single day, as many times as you can, because it's always brings exceptional results to our lives, not only in the physical aspect but in the mental and emotional aspect as well. I would drag myself to the gym, and one thing is what it was me getting through that door, and a whole different story getting out the door, because we always feel better. I promise you that.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And we're living longer now, generally, and it's about maintaining that quality of life, right? Because what's the point
Yes,
in living longer if we have no quality of life, if we can't, do the things that we want to do and enjoy life? Um,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, the next stat is based off that. It's a little bit depressing because it says that only 23% of adults aged 55 plus engage in physical activity despite the benefits.
That is sad. That definitely is hard to hear about. My mother has chronic mental illness. She didn't treat herself until she was 79 years old. My mom is 93. She's got advanced stages of dementia. But on the other hand, my mother really took care of her physical activity. And even though my mother is with advanced stages of dementia, my mother is still totally straight. She's totally erect. She is not like this, hunching over or anything, because of the massive amount of physical activity that she did. I mean, since I know my mother, she was always doing something, riding a bike, walking, whatever the case it was. She was always highly active. But on the other hand, she didn't take care of her mental health. And I could see the difference. It's like, okay, this is this part of her that took care of herself is up here. And then when it came to mental illness, she didn't take care of herself at all. And it's a very sad situation that she's going through right now. And it's very hard to hear that people over 55 give up so quickly. It doesn't matter what age we are. Start somewhere. Do 15-minute walk. Take your dog somewhere. Come on. Get it rolling, because all the price that is going to be paid is really, really high, especially as we keep on aging, we keep on slowing down, and it doesn't have to be that way. Definitely. I don't know. I am a fitness instructor still to this day. I've been doing this for over 40 years. I've been doing some kind of physical activity. I was a professional dancer group fitness instructor in the 80s and the 90s, and now I do Zumba. And here in Florida, this is the land of retirees. All the retired people land here. So there's a lot of communities that they are for active living adults, which the concept is absolutely beautiful. But it's just like you say, it's to the minimum of percentage that people actually take matters into their own hands and do more physical activity. So do yourself a favor, gentlemen, especially the gentlemen, do yourself a favor, bro. Get going, get walking, do something, because you will always feel better.
Absolutely. I maybe get a dog, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is a positive stat, right? So 74% of pet owners say that their pet improves their mental health.
Absolutely. And the bonding between animal and human is undeniable. The relationship between dog and human dates back to 50,000 years. So imagine that, it's been a lot of years. And it is proven that when we have a pet at home, our quality of life increases. And experiencing having the unconditional love that a pet gives us definitely is a beautiful thing, is a powerful thing. We have more inspiration to get moving, to take the dog out. So it's a win-win situation. Definitely, I've been a canine massage therapist for 9 years, and the relationship between the humans and the pets is, it's a beautiful thing. And it is proven that when we have a pet, we got to get off the couch, let go of the TV show, and give some good quality of life to our animals, because the animals are the reflection of us. So be very aware of that. So give yourself some physical activity, and to your animal too. It will be great for both of you.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Um, they are brilliant to have around, right? They don't
Mhm,
criticize us, they don't question us,
mhm.
they just
Absolutely.
love us and
Absolutely.
keep us moving. So
Yeah,
it's all
absolutely.
good.
I was reading at an article in National Geographic magazine not long ago that in many times the best listeners that we can have is our pets, actually. And it's very, very helpful to our quality of life and to our mental health. Of course, because in many occasions, when we go to someone for an advice or for support, we were talking about it earlier, that people start being judgmental and give opinions that nobody wants. And on the other hand, when we talk to our animals, I had animals all my life, and I will talk to all of them. They're just there for you. They're just there for you, and sometimes all you need is just a something, somebody or some pet to listen to you, and everything will be just fine.
Absolutely. I think some people might question my mental health if they see me talking to my dogs, though, because I talk to them like they're babies. So,
Oh
you know,
yeah, absolutely. That's a
we
beautiful
do.
thing, Aaron. Good for you. Oh my goodness. I sing songs to the dogs. I mean, I sing songs that are specially for them. So yeah, and I'm not a singer or anything, but I sing songs, and I sing songs to the cat too.
Brilliant. I love it. Love it. Blanca, it's been amazing having you on the show.
Thank
Really,
you.
really enjoyed it. Where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you or find out a bit more about you?
Oh, absolutely. You can find me at my website, www.woundedhealer.us. I'm in all social media platforms as well. I'm in Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you name it, I have it. And all that I spread in my social media is conversations about positivity, conversations that can really help us improve our quality of life, starting with me. So please, let's get connected. If you need any help, please let me know. I'm here for you. Okay.
Brilliant. I'll drop a link to your website in the show notes anyway to make it easier for people to find you as well.
Thank you.
Um, that being said, are there any kind of final messages or final thoughts that you want to leave people with?
Yes, absolutely. Don't let your past define who you are. We always have the opportunity for growth. And remember, we are beings of change, and change is a constant, change is unavoidable from the moment of birth to the moment of our passing. We are changing. And the more we embrace those changes, the better off we will be. I promise you that.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Blanca. Take care.